Hi, I'm Tom Mason. This video is to show you how to set up your categories and handle your grade setup within PowerTeacher Gradebook. In my experience working with teachers, this can be a very tricky thing, mainly because you're looking at it 1 or 2 or 3 times a year, and by the time it comes around again, it's easy to completely forget how to manage these things. So the first thing I want to talk about is your categories. You can see those down here in the bottom left corner. These are the 4 that are in PowerTeacher Gradebook by default: homework, project, quiz, and test. You can completely customize those, and I'll show you how to do that. Before I do, I want to make you aware that categories aren't course specific. So you can see I'm in an algebra course here. However, if I had a science course and a spelling course and whatever else, those categories are going to be the same across all 4 courses. So I might have a category for science labs, but that's still going to appear in algebra because those categories are my categories as a teacher. They're not subject specific. So all of your categories across all of your subjects will appear in this area, and that's no problem. We're just going to determine which ones are used in which class when we get to the grade setup section. So for now you want to create all the categories that you need, and that's no problem. All you need to do is click on the plus sign to add a new category. Now, to use my earlier example, let's say we're going to make one for science labs. So I will call it science labs, and let's just maybe call it lab as an abbreviation. I'm going to go ahead and pick olive as a color because you can see down here that olive is not used in any existing category, so that'll make an easy visual reference. By default, I would like 100 points possible. Now that really depends on how your school is handling its grading. But in the schools that I've worked with, 100 points is generally the standard because you're grading out of a percentage. But whatever you need is fine. So score type, I'll leave points. I want to include this category in the final grade, so I'll leave that checked. I don't need to worry about this section too much unless I have a specific reason to not publish the scores. So I'm going to click OK, and that's all there is to it. It's no problem at all. I just have another category here now for science labs. Now, if you want to adjust an existing category, for example, let's say that I don't like the word test. I want to change that to exam. And I think that red color is kind of scary for test, so I want to change that too. All you have to do is double click on that, and then we're going to get this window to edit the assignment category. Let's change it to exam. Abbreviation, I'll just change to EX. And I can change the color. Let's go with black. Maybe I want 100 points possible for that too. Hit OK, and I'm all done. The next thing I have to do once I've got my categories the way that I want them is to click on this icon. It looks like a blueprint with an A+ and a wrench, and that's the grade setup icon. That will take me to where I define all my categories and how I'm going to calculate my totals. So you can see I've got a Y1 reporting term. That's the whole year in my case. Yours are going to look different because your school is going to have different marking periods, dates, and semesters than this example school that I have set up here. So I'm going to look at S1 as my first semester. I want to double click on that. Now by default, you're probably going to be using total points. That means you're simply going to be adding up the total points among all of your assignments in any category and dividing them by the total number to get an average score. You probably don't want that, in which case you're going to go with category weights. So the first thing to do is click on the category weights circle and then click on add category. Now I'm in algebra class, so let's say that I have all 4 of these categories as part of this class. I'm not going to use science labs because that's for my science class, so we'll leave that one out of there. We'll click on OK. Now all 4 of those categories are associated with my algebra class for semester 1. The next thing to do is to adjust weights. You'll notice that if I click on weight and I change this number, it's going to adjust percents as I go. For now, I'm going to give all 4 of these categories a weight of 1. And you'll see that it's updated all of the percentages to be 25%. You might have to just click on them in order to refresh them so that the numbers calculate for you, but that's no problem. Now, one thing that I see a lot of teachers do is they like to simply calculate their percent on their own, and it's tricky to enter the numbers to figure out how they're going to come out. In that case, all you need to do is enter your percents directly, and PowerSchool will match those since the numbers are even and they're going to add up to 100 anyway. And there we go. And again, you might sometimes just have to click on these to force the application to recalculate. Now, if you don't want to calculate the percentages on your own and you want the application to do that for you, you can do that too. I want to put these back to 1. And then you can do something like this. You can say weight is 2. And then it will automatically calculate how much the percent is going to be based on the weights that you entered. Once you're done assigning weights or percentages to these scores, you can also look at the drop low option, the final column here on the right. You can actually drop 1 or 2 of the low scores or however many you want within a category. In this case, this would drop the lowest 1 homework assignment, and if I enter 2 for quiz, the 2 lowest quiz scores will be dropped from the calculations. From here, I'm going to click on the Save button down in the bottom right hand corner, and that'll save my category weighting setup for semester 1. Now it can be pretty tedious and time consuming to change this among many semesters, especially if you're using 4 of them. So in that case, you can right click on the one that you finished setting up, which in my case is semester 1, and I'm going to say copy grade setup S1 only. From here I'm going to check the box to S2, and that will copy this grade setup to semester 2. I'll click next and finish. Note that it will recalculate your grades after you do this, to update the scores to reflect this new category weighting in your grade setup. So you can see S1 and S2 as I click on them are both reflecting the same category weights in the bottom part of the screen. If I go back to the score sheet, it should have recalculated those for me. But just in case your scores aren't matching up the way you're expecting, click up here on the Tools menu and recalculate final scores. You're going to want to do the overall class final grades and click OK. And then you'll get a grade for the student. Also keep an eye on your final grade. See how this student has 100% even though one assignment is 10% and the other is 100%? That's obviously incorrect. Now when this happens, it's usually due to your final grade setup. And let's have a quick look at that. Now we're in S2 right now. So see what happens with drop low, those are both homework category. And it's dropping the 1 lowest assignment. That means it's dropping the 10 and leaving the 100. So I'm going to fix this to 0. That will drop none of the low assignments. Now if I click out of there and click Save, go back to my score sheet, now it's recalculated and the students earned a 55%. So again, just keep an eye on your final grade and make sure you check how you have your grading setup done so that you know that you're getting the right percentage. If any errors pop up, that's usually why they're there. So you can just check out your setup and then you don't have to worry about it. I hope this video is useful to you. Again, I'm Tom Mason, and if you have any questions, make sure to leave them beneath this video. And if there's anything you'd like me to talk about in the future related to PowerTeacher Gradebook, go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll make sure I can answer that for you. Thanks.